Hi and welcome to the Great Debaters Contest. I'm your host, George Karaoke. Thank you for joining us. Every day we hear news about insecurity, not only in our region, but also in other African regions. Conflicts pose a serious threat to the continent. Should we fight regional insecurity as a united African state, or should we fight our own battles as independent countries? Your verdict counts. Our motion today reads, matters of cross-border insecurity should be the mandate of a continental security agency. Let's see how the debaters handle this tough topic.
The motion this week is matters of cross-border insecurity in Africa should be the mandate of a continental security agency. Proposing the motion, Kiambu High School. Opposing the motion, Kenya High School. Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. But in a twist, the audience also gets to have their say through the popular vote. This will see an extra 5% added to the school that wins this vote. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a laptop and modem courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Hako, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win!
Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
I stand here to propose the motion stating that matters of cross-border insecurity in Africa, that is, should be the mandate of a continental security agency. Maybe I'll begin by demystifying the title, or breaking it down into pieces so that we know exactly what it is that we're talking about. Cross-border insecurity, as I understand it, it's a lack of safety or a lack of peace that stretches beyond the boundaries of a state or of a nation or of any geographical area, that is. It is insecurity that is negated from one area to the other. That is, it does not stay in one region particularly. Now, the body that you're talking about, the Continental Security Agency, is a sort of a council that has a regional or a continental outlook. Something that is combined, different member states coming together to fight this insecurity. So having understood that, let me expound on my points. Okay, so we're going to find that this body that we're having is going to carry out research and investigation. And by doing that, it provides a way of curbing situations when they're just budding. For example, you have country A, and they are terrorists in country A. Country A borders country B. Now this council is a permanent thing, this continental security body. It's a permanent thing. So it's able to carry out investigations such that when that one person is coming up, recruiting members, before it becomes even a big situation, the council is on to it. And that way we are able to save a situation from erupting, a war from erupting. We're also going to find that this body brings about the well-known concept of strength in unity. We're two countries, we're conflicting. You are powerful than I am, and so you are taking advantage to oppress me. But we have a body that is regional. And in this body, it has the mandate to solve such conflicts. What will happen? You have no opportunity to oppress me. I give an example. In October 1993, Ethiopia invaded Somalia, but they were repulsed. In 2006, Ethiopia again invaded Somalia, but this time they got backing from the United States of America. So what happened? They were able to capture Mogadishu and save it from the Islamist terrorists, though it still went back to the terrorists. They achieved something at least, didn't they? Those are only two nations fighting from one front. Just two nations. Imagine a continental body. What can it achieve? Okay, I would conclude by saying that this body will save us a lot in terms of money. Think about it. Thank you.
Opposer number 1, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Janet Ireri from the Kenya High School. My colleague just said that it will save us a lot of money. I want to start by refusing that because think about it. Is it easier to transport troops from one country A that is bordering country B, or is it easier to transport them from a common point all the way to country B? So I want you to think about that as we go on. On to my first point, there's too many conflicts in Africa. I'll try and list some of them. In 1998, officially, the war in DRC was officiated. It's still continuing till now. At the same time, we still have the Kenya-Somalia war. We still had the Southern Sudan and Sudan war going on at the same time. 1998 to 2000, we had the Eritrean-Ethiopian war. So really, are we going to put all these conflicts under one body to manage all these conflicts that we have in Africa? I think it is also logical that we look at it. It is easier if one country is fighting for its own people than if we are having one body to manage all these conflicts that we have in Africa. So really, I do not think the security of, the cross-border insecurity issues should be mandated to one body. Let's go to the superiority complex. My colleague said that if one country that is stronger than the other will not have the opportunity to oppress. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring you to reality. Let's look at the UN. It's an international body. And when Syria was at war, the General Assembly of the UN agreed to send troops to Syria. But the Security Council, which is made of just 5 countries, refused. And what does that mean? That the troops were not sent into Syria. So what I'm saying is that the more powerful countries will dominate this continental security agency. So we will not be breaking the point of more dominant countries dominating over the others. They will continue dominating, whatever the case. To another point, third world countries, as you know, most of Africa is third world countries, right? So really, are we going to put these countries into the obligation of forming a continental security agency, or are these countries supposed to concentrate on bringing up their own particular countries? Because really, I do not see it being logical that a country should give forth funds and troops for a continental security agency, which it might not use to be realistic. It might not get to use this continental security agency in the case of Tanzania, which has not had war since 1964. So really, if we had a continental security agency, would it be prudent to put these countries into the obligation of paying funds and troops into the continental security agency that they are not going to use? Yet, we are a developing continent. We need to develop our continent first. Thank you.
Proposer number 2, you have 3 minutes.
I'm Kelvin Dongo from Kiambu High School. First, I'll start by defining some of hard points. The first thing, these funds that we as countries are producing in the agency, we are producing funds according to our ability. Not all countries have the ability to produce the same funds. Yeah, we can say, Kenya can provide like 15%. Tanzania, which is a much lesser developing country, can provide 5%. Okay, now let me go straight to my points. Okay, my first point is that we don't have to depend on UN and such kind of security agency in order to solve our problems. We can form our own security agency that can deal with our own problems because they understand that much better than the UN. We have to take pride as Africans. We don't have to be at the bottom of them. We don't have to. My second point is that sometimes we don't have to stick our heads to the sand and pray that all the times that peaceful means of settling down scores or settling down conflicts would work. They wouldn't. Sometimes for peace to prevail, wars must apply for peace to prevail. Let me give you a good example. Idi Amin. The reign of Idi Amin came to a stop when Tanzania attacked. That's war. But now, look at Uganda. Peaceful. That's what we need in Africa. Okay, a point about better planning. Okay, you've talked about oppression. We are going to be oppressed by the powerful nation. Let me counter that and say that it is wrong. We are going to set up rules that will guide us as countries that we cannot be oppressed. We're going to set up rules. We cannot start an agency and don't have rules. We have to have rules. If country A wants to oppress us, no, you can't oppress us. Yes, we might be a small country, but you can't. Why? Because we have rules that we have to follow. Thank you.
Opposer number 2.
I salute you all, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christine Rubera, and I'm here to firmly oppose this motion. First of all, they talked about how cross-border conflicts involves 2 countries, right, or more countries. So what if the war spills over to the other country? As a government, are we meant to sit there and wait for this body that you're meant to put up to come and save us? Really? Our government's obligation is to its citizens. Therefore, if rebels are spilling over into our country and posing insecurity, threats to our citizens, our work is to defend them. Therefore, we should go against them. Secondly, the only example that we have in Africa of unified troops that came together is AMISOM. That's working in Somalia, and it's funded by the US and the EU. So now, if you tell us that countries are going to contribute according to how much they earn, for example, or how much they have, then don't you think that that point doesn't hold water? Because already we are seeing that the US and the EU are funding AMISOM. Secondly, it's going to bring us back to the point of superiority complex. In the UN, again, we are saying the Secretary Council, which is made up of the 5 superpowers, still vetoed that declaration by the General Assembly to send troops to Syria. Therefore, if just one group among the dominant ones decided that they shouldn't go to Syria, they didn't go to Syria, and that's why the people in Syria continued to suffer. We are not assured that these countries will unite. For example, in the Maji Rebellion, I'm sure all of us did history. In the Maji Rebellion, one of the factors that made that rebellion not to succeed is the fact that most of the communities didn't come together. And the fact that they could have come together, the fact that they could have come together did not mean that they did come together. So because of that disunity, the Maji Rebellion did not work. Secondly, we don't know about some of the motives of other countries. For example, if a country is fighting over a port, and there's obviously there are other countries that are benefiting from this port. When they come to war, obviously they'll support the country whereby they're getting more benefits. Therefore, we don't know why some countries are going to be going to war, either to bring peace or to bring benefits to their own countries. Therefore, we are not so sure what some countries want to do in other countries. Yeah, so also some of these countries will be torn between which side to defend. For example, if all countries are except West Sahara and Morocco are in the African Union, if, for example, we bring up troops, which side are you going to defend? Because you're all supporting, you're all Africans and you're patriotic to your continent and all that, but which side are you going to stand against? So thank you.
Lads and lass, I'm Emma Kaweria from St. George's Girls Secondary School. After the break, we showcase more debates, numerous questions, and absolutely unexpected results.
My question goes to the proposers. When you say we don't have to contribute the same amount, what criteria will be used to determine the amount that we should give? And don't you think if I give more money than this country, I will demand for more favors from the organization?
My question comes to the point where the second speaker said that the Maji Rebellion, when they came together, you said they wouldn't come together again. I didn't get that point, but I want to ask you a question that when those people came together, it brought effective changes to them. What are you trying to tell us? That you did not bring effective changes to the world, or the resources weren't found for these people to actually get independence?
Proposal number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the questions that were posed to you.
I'm Gilbert Nyamu from Kiambu High School. I like to answer the questions addressed to us. He has asked us about the funds. The funds, some will contribute. Let's say like Kenya, it's more developed than Tanzania, as my fellow debater said. It will contribute higher than Tanzania. And so, by that, not that they are going to dominate, but before we start this security agency, we are first of all going to sit down as those countries that have decided to join the security agency, set the ground rules, saying that no, in this security agency, there's no country superior than the other. We are united. Let's say we have come here together like Uganda, Tanzania, Somalia. Let's say the EAC countries. Let's say Tanzania is in a war. We go help them. We are not going to send the troops. We're not going to send the troops from Sudan or from Somalia. Kenya is more nearer. We are going to unite. Because Kenya, all of us, we are in that security agency. We are going to help them. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.
Proposal number 3. Proposal number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the questions posed to you.
My name is Cheryl Russell, and I didn't really get his question, but the way I understood it was like, will it be more effective? How are these people going to unite? Now, the question was not they will unite. We are not really sure if all these countries will come together and unite. He talked about the Maji Maji rebellion. To clarify on her point, the point was that this communities could have united, but they did not. Now, for example, I play basketball, someone plays baseball, another plays hockey, someone else plays cricket. That doesn't, now, we want to form a continental body. Will we all come and play one game, or will we play different games? I don't see how these countries that have their own military styles, these countries that have their own way of doing things will bring their troops together and work to bring a unified force. So that's why we are saying they will not be able to unite together in time. And by the time they actually form a continental security agency, look at all the conflicts going on today. How will they combat that when they take all this time to form this body? Now, on to our own points, because there were no other questions. The first one was more finances. Now, we were told countries like Tunisia and South Africa are among the richest in Africa. Now, we are forming a continental security agency. Now, I come to Tunisia, I contribute about 40%. South Africa contributes about 45%. The rest of Africa contribute about 5%. Are you really serious when you say that we will have a say? Those of us who contributed 5% will have a say in what goes on. Just like the United Nations, there were rules in forming that organization. Yes, they were all talking about equality, greatness, we'll all be equal. But seriously, they have the veto power. So basically, when we form a continental security agency where other countries contribute more, there will be veto power, whatever with it is a reality. If we contribute more, we need to benefit more. On that point, on to our second point, we have formed this continental security agency, which, by the way, we don't know where it's going to be based. So we are not really sure how far it will be from our country or how fast they will get there. Then, for example, Kenya is attacked by Uganda. A government has a moral obligation to its citizens to protect them. Will we sit down, since we have given the mandate to the Continental Security Agency, and see our citizens being killed? No, that government will be thrown out of power for a fact. Yes. Now, our third point, it will bring peace and unity. That is what we said. But we are contesting this. Just because you think that since we've all formed a continental security agency, we'll have peace and togetherness. Like we said, we've all formed this security agency together. Then Ethiopia and Eritrea are acting together. Now, what will they do? Who will we support? Who will we support? That will not bring peace. It will bring disunity. Thank you.
let's have winding up statements from the proposing team.
Food for thought. What are they telling us? That we are not forming this agency because we are not sure that countries will unite. Come on, people. We are Africans. We can base this thing on our tradition, African socialism. We do not have to be like the UN. We are people brought up, learned to live like brothers. The spirit of supporting each other. You might be richer than I am. Support me. The spirit of supporting each other. Why aren't we forming this thing? Because of fear. Fear of what? Lack of funds. Fear of what? Not uniting. Seriously? Will we give up the opportunity of having a continent not owned? A continent not owned by destitute women and children, not owned by rape and murders, through formation of this Security Council, because we are afraid? Because we are afraid of not being able to unite? Because we are afraid of not having funds? Look at our judges. Beautiful t-shirts they've got, right? Will they refuse to wear them because of the inconvenience of having to wash them? Because they are afraid? Food for thought.
Okay, I will do this very simply. Give you 4 points. The first one, too many conflicts, only one body to deal with. Is it realistic? The second one, if you're entering a war, you must know which particular side you're supporting. So really, if you're forming a continental body, which side is it going to support? The third thing, superiority complex. Seriously, we cannot overlook the fact that those who contribute more will want a bigger reward. We cannot overlook that. And the fourth point, ladies and gentlemen, is the conflict of interest. Every country in this continent has a different way of doing things. The way Kenyan army is trained is not the way the Sudanese army is trained, is not the way the Nigerian army is trained. So by the time they come together and put down the ground rules and put down the structure which they're going to use to train this army, don't you think we'll be wasting valuable time and resources? Because there will really be a big conflict of interest. Thank you.
You had a very interesting topic, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Let me just say a couple of things. I think it was very good. You started us off very well. The first debater started us off well by breaking down the topic and demystifying it for us so that the rest of us could follow through. So thank you very much for starting us off well. Thank you also to Kenya High. You make very good references, which shows that you have read, that you're keeping up with what's happening. Let us not, refer to our continent as a third world because others have done that. I think we need to give Africa's continent some credit. We have come very far, and I don't think we are a third world where we are right now. So, when you have a topic of that nature that is really, touching people, you really want to do justice to it because there's a lot of expectation from the audience. Thank you.
Yeah, this was a topic that a lot was expected, really, and what I could say is that, normally when you are the second speaker, there's a possibility that the first speaker may say everything they wanted to say. But nevertheless, I think I just want to point out a few things that otherwise it was a very impressive performance from the other side, especially the first speakers, they did very well. I just want to say about some things that Kelvin talked about, Tanzania's invasion. That was not a continental thing. That was a sovereign country that attacked another one. The idea of Maji rebellion, you said it did not work because of lack of unity. I think that was contradictory. We were supposed to be on the other side. Then you talked of Somalia. I think that was Nyamu. Somalia is not a member of the ESC. I think that those are the issues I want. Otherwise, it was a good performance from you. Thank you.
I enjoyed the start. It was a good start, and I think, as we said, a nice quote and definition as well. I think overall, without going into specific performance, because I'm impressed by everybody who has come up on this podium today, you've had excellent debate, you've been passionate. I think a fantastic level of debate. Thank you so much.
How many guys, by show of hands, think that the proposers had a better argument? How many think that the opposers had a better argument? It's the opposers' day.
The judges' results, before, of course, the 5% that's allocated by the audience, stood at 66% for Kiambu High School and 75% for Kenya High School, which brings the final result to 66% Kiambu High and 80% Kenya High School.
Now, this has been The Great Debaters. I'm your host, George Karaoke. See you next time.
Why can't we Africans start making our own materials so that children from a younger age can start believing from a different perspective, believing that Africa has something to offer?
The opportunities are there because we are being aided by these countries. There is no way that we can be given so much money, so much funds, yet we have not done anything with them.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a laptop and modem courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Hako, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win!